Good morning, everybody. All right, so listen, it's been 18 months since we were all here together in 2022, and I am thrilled to say that so much has happened, especially in the last 6 months. You all know that our strategy is two prongs. We need to get members of Congress ready to propose, and we need to get states ready to ratify. So everything we do revolves around those two prongs. We're working on the ground in states to make sure that constituents are letting their members of Congress know where they stand, which you're all going to do tomorrow, and they're letting their state legislators know, support this, get ready to ratify. So, how have things been going for the first 6 months of 2024?
In the last 6 months, a resolution calling on Congress to pass the For Our Freedom Amendment has passed out of committee in Pennsylvania with a strong bipartisan 22-3 vote. And we expect a floor vote any day now in the House. And the sister resolution is still awaiting action in committee in the Senate.
All right, Wisconsin, where are you at? In Wisconsin, a Republican-led resolution was introduced in the state legislature. And although the session ended before a vote could be held, we had supermajority support in the Senate.
Excuse me. In Wyoming, a majority of the members of the House voted in support of House Joint Resolution 2. And while it fell just short of the 2/3 vote necessary during what was a budget session, we look forward to working with the folks on the ground in Wyoming next year when only a simple majority will be needed to pass.
Awesome. Go Wyoming! In Minnesota, a resolution passed out of committee with strong support, and this is important groundwork because we're going to talk about what's coming in 2025. So go Minnesota!
In Maine, building off the strong win in November, American Promise staff and volunteers have tabled at events around the country, including the Democratic and the GOP state conventions. They've presented at county party meetings, and they've leveraged all of this activity to be leading the country in candidate pledges for support for the For Our Freedom Amendment.
Go Maine!
Go Maine!
All right, so we launched in Arizona last year. In the last 6 months, we've been expanding our grassroots support. We've been developing relationships with key legislators. Our coalition is growing. And perhaps most importantly, our state manager, Tim Castro, has become a small film movie star. Go, Tim!
In Texas, and there are a lot of people from Texas here.
Let's hear it for
Let's
Texas!
hear it for Texas! There's a ton. There's so many of you here. American Promise staff and volunteers have tabled at the largest political gatherings around the state, including the Texas Republican Convention, from securing 19 candidate pledges to having 22 Texans attending here today with us. American Promise in Texas is off to a very strong start in 2024.
Yeah, Texas! Okay, so over the past year, although we haven't had NCLC for about 18 months, we have had dozens of meetings with members of Congress from constituents and staff. But those dozens of meetings are going to be eclipsed tomorrow by over 105 meetings with members of Congress tomorrow. That's a record for American Promise because of you.
So far this year, American Promise staff and volunteers have presented and spoken at over 30 educational events, speaking and meeting with over 6,000 American voters.
Awesome. We've got about 1,000 Americans who took our citizen pledge, which is far outpacing our prior years. We have over 3,200 people sending over 6,200 emails to their members of Congress and state legislators, all urging them to support by name the For Our Freedom Amendment.
We are also heading towards another record for American Promise, where so far this year, 187 candidates from around the country have taken our candidate pledge, promising to support the For Our Freedom Amendment. We are only halfway through the year, and this is more candidate pledges than the last 3 years combined.
Which is awesome. Okay, so all of that work which you've been doing, it is inspiring me, and I hope it's going to get you jazzed up for more to come. So You go to your state house for a lobby day. You contact your legislators. You write an LTE. You meet with your neighbor. You find 5 friends and tell them about the work we're doing. Carry what we do this week forward into the future. And now we want to talk about what is in store for 2025.
Okay, and you guys are going to play along with me for a little bit. If I say your state, please stand up. We're going to keep moving, okay? So we're looking into the future. We're currently running viability assessments for legislative campaigns in up to a dozen states next year. Again, a key element in our strategy is to build support and political infrastructure in states by passing resolutions in support of the 4R Freedom Amendment. Please stand if you live and vote in one of these states. We will definitely have a legislative push in Arizona, Wisconsin, Wyoming, Utah. I know there are folks here from those states.
Yeah.
We are also exploring Arkansas, Indiana, Iowa, Oklahoma, South Dakota, Texas. I know you're here. Michigan, Minnesota, Kansas, Nebraska, Ohio, Georgia, and Missouri. Woo! Woo! We will need your help next year. Resolutions don't pass by chance, even if it's a great idea. They don't pass unless voters mobilize and they advocate to their state legislators. And if you aren't in one of those states, never fear, there's more work for you to do anyway. Your involvement is still critically important to this work. Join our national mobilization team. Speak to your members of Congress like we are tomorrow. Ensure that money in politics continues to be a part of the conversation in your state by writing letters to the editors, attending candidate town halls, and collecting candidate pledges. And of course, you'll see me around. You're welcome to corner me today and make your case as to why we should also be looking at your state to pass a resolution next year, because a key piece of our strategy is voter engagement. So feel free to corner me over the course of today.
All right, guys. Amending the Constitution isn't easy, but we are going to get it done because of all the people in this room. So give yourselves a round of applause. Okay, so now it is a special pleasure of mine to introduce a legislative champion of the 4R Freedom Amendment from the Commonwealth of Virginia, Senator Scott Surville. Senator Surville is currently serving as the majority leader in the Virginia State Senate, representing the 34th District, just down the river from where we are now. He's a lawyer by training, and he's been serving in the state Senate since 2016. He's been active on a range of issues, including transportation, criminal justice reform, and environmental protection. And one of Senator Surville's most proud legislative accomplishments was to serve as the chief sponsor to repeal Virginia's death penalty after 4 centuries. This legislation passed with bipartisan support during the 2021 session. We are delighted that Senator Surville believes strongly in the need for constitutional reform of money in politics. Last year, he launched a sign-on letter for his colleagues in support of the 4R Freedom Amendment, and that letter so far has achieved the signatures of the majority of Virginia's state senators. So we appreciate his ongoing leadership in the Commonwealth, and with that, I'm looking forward to his remarks today. Thank you, Senator Surville.